happy evening or morning, wherever you may be. My name is Natasha Nurse. I am the host of the Sisters on Fire IRL series, and the fabulous artist and extraordinary Mariah Graham, right, is next to me here virtually speaking, and she is our next feature for the Sisters on Fire IRL series. So I'm going to pass the baton to you. I'd love for you to first share a little bit about, how you got started with what you do, tell people all your accolades and just who you are.
Okay, actually, I started roughly 65 years ago. I started in the cotton field. I have been working since I was 5 years old. And I grew up in the cotton field. My parents were sharecroppers in the South. And I picked cotton for the first 17 years of my life.
Wow.
And it's wonderful because basically when I arrived in New York, I was 17. I graduated in New York City, went to the School of Visual Arts, talked my way into the school because I had no idea what a portfolio was. But obviously, the gentleman that owned the School of Visual Arts, he believed in me. And I was there for a number of years. And then when I graduated from there, my very first job out of the School of Visual Arts was the New York Times. And the word went around town saying that I went there so many times until they gave me a job to get rid of me. And it has been marvelous. It's been marvelous 51 years.
Wow. Amazing. And what type of art, just so everyone knows, what type of art do you do?
I'm an illustrator. I do a lot of advertising work. Matter of fact, you might be able to see some behind me, the type of work that I do. And I work for every magazine in this country and, of course, in Europe. And being that my very first job came from the New York Times, it made it a little easier because when I went to London, said that I worked for the New York Times, the London Times hired me. Paris Tribune hired me. And I pretty much worked all over the world. And I love this business. I'm sorry, I hope I'm not interrupting, but I love this business so much. And when I speak to young people now, young students, and I'll say, look, I've never worked a day in my life and I got paid every day.
Nice. I love it. Wow. So for you, New York Times essentially like pretty much started everything for you then, right?
It started everything for me. It basically started everything for me. And it's wonderful. I did the fashion page. I don't know if you are familiar with the Fashion of the Times. I did that when he did illustration. I did that for like 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
And the scheduling, it was very, very tight. I wake up on Monday morning and didn't go back to sleep again until Friday.
Wow.
But I never missed a deadline.
Incredible.
So after 51 years of working, my work is still wanted. People love what I do. And they just, and I continue to work.
Great. Have you explored with other art forms as well, or you primarily stick to illustration?
I'm an illustrator. That's basically what I am. I'm an illustrator. And I love the work. And as an illustrator, you never get old. You just work for the rest of your life. I figured, in another 45 years, maybe I'll think of retiring.
Nice. Very nice. Okay. And how did you fall in love with art initially?
Well, it was the best thing I could do. It's what I do. And it's the only thing I could do. And I figured as long as I could do this, why not get someone to pay me for it?
Cool. Okay.
That was my attitude. But with an incredibly amount of hard work. I made 6 appointments a day, 5 days a week, and I stayed out there. Never took no for an answer.
I love it.
It was not easy. It was in the 60s and in the 70s, and things weren't always so nice, but it never discouraged me.
And when you say things weren't always so nice, what would you say were the biggest challenges that you faced in your career?
So the biggest challenge was, I would say, sometimes I was called for jobs and I wasn't hired in that sense. But you know what it is? I just went home, back to my studio, and I continued to do what I do. And sooner or later, somebody had to call, because I did what I did better than anyone else. And never had, always with a smile on my face. Because you know, there's no reason to be upset about anything. You just keep doing it.
Okay. Would you say that some of the times when you didn't get hired, it was because of race or being a woman? Like, how did being a person of color and being a woman affect your journey and your career?
Well, I've had some issues where I was actually sent for. I went to Europe, and they decided that they didn't particularly like who I was. But you know, in that case, I went across town and went to the London Times, and they hired me.
Gotcha.
So that's how I dealt with that. And
just never giving up. Gotcha.
Oh, never, absolutely never giving up. This is the type of business that you do. You live it, you sleep it. This is for who you are. This is who I am. I need this more than I need food. This is who I am. So it's my life. So you just,
gotcha.
I wouldn't even think of giving up on doing this. Doing this type of work.
Incredible.
It's great.
And when it comes to being an artist, what did you do to like work on your craft? Were you, you mentioned school, where was most of what you learned as an artist from school, or was it from just like life and just living and growing? How did you perfect or grow your craft?
Well, basically, school can only teach you but so much. And then at that time, you really must go out there and learn certain things. I mean, right now, I can teach to young people certain things that they will not get in school. But in my case, when it came down to having a portfolio, as I said, I went to the School of Visual Arts. I talked my way into the school because I had no idea what a portfolio was. And I just kept learning, and I kept learning, and I kept learning. And you keep drawing, and it's like any type of artistic endeavor. The more you do it, the better you get at it. You become. And that's who I am. And it's just it gives me a smile. You know, you can go to bed at night with a smile on your face. You wake up with a smile on your face, and never ever unhappy with the type of work that I do.
Okay,
you know, it's just
awesome.
It's just an absolute love.
And when it comes to like the industry, I don't know if you've been paying attention, probably with art, at least with like fashion, it's been interesting to see how the industry has been more inclusive and diverse and showing different body types and stuff like that. Did that like affect the type of illustrations you were making, and how did you feel about more diversity and more inclusion?
I love that. I absolutely love that right now. I think that is absolutely fantastic. That wasn't always the case. And a lot of times because my work tend to be, I didn't draw like anyone else. I drew the way I draw. I did it. And some people would tell me, oh, your work looks very European. So I go to Europe, you know? And then, of course, working in New York City, going to Europe, that opened up doors for you, and especially working for the New York Times. So when I go to New York, I would go to Europe, they would hire me, then I'd come back to the New York Times and say, oh, they hired me at the London Times. So you just go back and forth. But the diversity now is, it's absolutely marvelous. I love that. I really do I love the way things are now.
Is it easy from a from a technical perspective? Is it easy to learn to draw and illustrate with more diversity in mind, or is that like a specialty that people have to be like kind of work on it to make sure that they can effectuate that in their craft?
Well, no, what I would tell younger people coming out into the industry at this point, do what feels good to you. If you want to draw a person that is green, draw a person that is green. Do not follow any particular fashion, because basically at this particular time, the more original you are, the more you work. It's harder in the beginning. I will tell you, it's harder in the beginning to be an original, but you have no competition. You will not have any competition.
That's a good one.
No,
That's a very good point.
But it's hard. It's hard. It may not be as easy as saying, look, I'm drawing like Mary Sue over there, or John over there, and getting something like that. But you're only getting the scrap from what they have left. But being an original, if someone calls, and of course we would have what you call a portfolio day, and if someone calls and say, we want you to everybody to bring their portfolio in. So it's kind of almost like a cattle call almost. But in that sense, what I would say I have done is that people will, my work comes out, and if they call me, they only want me. And it's hard that way, but you cut down the competition. And my competition has always been me. I compete against myself, never against another artist out there. And I sound like I'm like, but this, to me, this is almost, I don't know, a religion, this work of mine.
No, yeah, you seem very passionate and very dedicated, and to be doing it so long. I really admire that. So with social media, how has that affected your business as being an artist and kind of getting the word out? Has it helped? Has it confused things? What are your thoughts?
Actually, no, it is actually, I get actually a couple of emails a week from young artists saying, oh, can I assist you with this? Can I assist you with that? And stuff like that. No, actually, it has actually helped me an awful lot, because matter of fact, the work that I have, like with my website, I have a website, a couple of websites up. People see the website, and it just, it has not, matter of fact, it has actually helped. I mean, I've taken to the computer kind of like duck to water kind of. I love the computer. I mean, right now in my studio here, I'm sitting in here with about 3 different computers. I mean, 3 computers and a laptop. And they all kind of like is on. And my drawing table is on one end. And what it is the drawing table's on one side, the computer's on the other side, and then I have a chair that swivels back and forth, because without the computer, I would not be able to work in this industry. Because it is no longer the situation where you do an original art and have FedEx or UPS come and pick it up. Those days are over and long gone.
Gotcha. Absolutely. And so what are also some of the pieces, like, do you have things for sale? I'd love for you to talk a little bit about your work as well. And I'm going to share your website in the comment section as well.
Oh, great. Fantastic. I have pieces. Matter of fact, I have a couple of pieces right behind you right now that client bought, and then now I'm waiting for them to pick it up. I'm working on, matter of fact, I'm also working on a book. Well, no, the book has already been written, and we're now looking for a publisher for the book as well. It's the title of the book is My Story from the Cotton Field to the World of Fashion. And
wow,
I'm doing all of that at this time. But I have work that I've done. There are lots of work around the studio.
I love it. Okay. And given your expansive history and career, what would you say has been the greatest lesson learned in your entire career?
For me, the greatest lesson learned is that, I guess in a sense, hard work never hurts anybody. I love what I do. and love what you do. If a young person is coming out there and they want to go into the arts, whether it be visual arts or whether it be performing art, put your whole body and soul into that. There's no such thing as like, and which is what I tell young people to say, oh, I'm going to get this job and then I'll do art on the side. It don't work. Art is a career in itself. And it doesn't work as saying, I'm going to do this on the side or something like that. No. Put your whole body and soul into it. I guess some people could say that it is selfish, but you only live once. And I don't know anybody who come around and did it twice, you know. I do. This is who I am. And and believe me, Ms. Tasha, it's fantastic. Life has been fantastic.
I love it. Okay. Now I have a couple questions.
Yes.
Awesome. And I have a couple questions. So you have several relatives, I think, here putting in the comments, she's awesome. They love you, Auntie, which is really nice. I'd love for you to share a little bit about how important like family life and balancing and or harmonizing between your family life and your career and your professional goals. Has that been an easy journey? Has it been difficult to balance?
Well, I'm sure this is my nephews and my cousins and stuff like that, and they are absolutely they are lovely. We we're all at the stage now in our 50s and our 70s and whatever like that, and it's absolutely marvelous at this point. And but we have just sometimes my friends have, not my friends but my relatives, they always thought that was a little weird, because we're coming out of as sharecroppers, and then I'm going into the art, which is something completely different, and they just assumed that I was a little. But now it is absolutely marvelous. I have relatives from the East Coast to the West Coast, and it's still marvelous. They would. Wonderful. I just actually took several of them just called me earlier this evening and wanted to wish me luck. Which is
okay, good, awesome. That's good to hear. I would say for me, generally, I don't know your background, but I'm of Caribbean descent. My family's from Jamaica and from my mom and dad's side. And I feel like being Caribbean, it's been an interesting journey because I'm a lawyer by trade, but I made a shift and I went into entrepreneurship and I do a lot of media work, right? And I don't necessarily know if that conversation has been as celebrated with my family because Caribbean culture tends to be more on the conservative side and they prefer people to be like lawyers and doctors, and that makes sense, and anything else is like, but why, right? And so it's nice to hear that you're saying even in your family that even though you made a shift, that it's still been received well, because I don't know if that's always the case.
Well, it has been received well, as we got older, but my mother wanted me to be a teacher or she wanted me to be a nurse, and no. I'm an adjunct professor. I've been an adjunct professor for 40 years. I teach what I do. And I worked at Marymount College, Fordham University, Parsons, and FIT as an adjunct professor. But
beautiful.
Art is my first, it's my love. And as a matter of fact, this university only hired me because of my standing in the industry.
Love it.
Because I don't have a doctorate or anything of that. So I don't have that. I have a degree, but I don't have a doctorate. But it's been lovely. It has been lovely. And I just I love, as I say, I love what I do. And when you get there and you can see a finished piece, and then people are just emailing me constantly. They are interested in this, they're interested in that, and it makes you feel good.
Absolutely. So that's interesting so you're saying that you were able to also pursue teaching. Now, how important has it been being an artist to have like multiple streams of income? Because as an artist, that means you're, an entrepreneurial kind of a journey. And so some people say, have multiple income streams. What are your thoughts on it for people coming into the space, trying to figure out how to do what they love and also eat and have heat and water?
That's That's important to a point. But you know something? I
Yeah.
never thought about that because in my case, as an artist, I believe very strongly in me. And there was always like that might have been a day where I didn't have any money, but 2 weeks down the line, I had a few thousand because I was willing to put in the work. And you know, when you're sitting here, like a client will call you, and I work mostly in advertising. I've had a client who called me Wednesday afternoon and say, Mariah, we need this by Thursday morning. Now, this is a huge ad in the New York Times. I mean, this is a full page in the New York Times. And it's, you know, and the profit is very nice. But I've got to stay up all night long and I have no idea what I'm doing. But in the meantime, by 4 o'clock in the morning, I got an idea. And it all came through. And I'm sure you must have seen it. It's No Nonsense. I created that ad for the No Nonsense. That was my ad.
Oh, nice. Oh, okay.
Those sketches, cool. I did that. I also did a couple of other things. I created design for Pizza Huts and all of those things, you know. So I did,
wow.
It's just, there are a lot of things that have come my way, and I love it. But you know, I just never said no for an answer, and I never worry about the money, because you know you can have all the money in the world and be miserable, or you can have not a whole lot and be wonderfully happy, which is how I mean, I don't have a whole lot of money, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. And also, Natasha, what is so nice about it, we only go around once. And why not have it our way? And my life has been on my terms. That's a fantastic resume. Since it is my life has been on my terms.
Yes.
But I have some lovely, lovely nephews and nieces. They're beautiful.
Awesome. Awesome. And how important has networking been for you in your industry? Has that helped, or has it really just been the opportunities as you've done really great work, you've landed really great gigs and they just led to others, or have also networking and connecting with people helped elevate things for you?
Some networking. It would be some networking. Like we would have some editors that like what I did. Like I did work for L'Oreal for a number of years. And they like what I did. So they recommended me to Revlon. I got things of that sort. So that networking in that sense. But mainly it was, you know, you have to advertise. I would go in these what do you call art books. I would advertise. I would send out what do you call telemarketing, stuff like that. I would do all of that because because it is a business. And it has to be treated that way. And when things got a little slower, I'd make up some cards and I would ship it out. And the computer was fantastic because at that time I could email an art director, a creative director. Didn't always answer my email, but it worked out. Yeah. You know, I was able to do it. And I just stayed out there and I just kept doing it. And
I love it. Awesome.
Yeah. But as far as networking and stuff like that, it was not so much because basically this business as a freelance illustrator is more of a loner setup. You basically, it's a solitary business. It is not a business where you have a lot of people around you. Because you've got to make deadlines. You know, for the first 20 or 30 years, I didn't know what a Saturday and Sunday was. You know, it was just another day of the week that I could make another deadline. So you don't, you know, network was not, it was some, but not a lot of it.
Gotcha. Okay. You know? And with that, I'd love to talk a little bit more about Sisters on Fire. So Sisters on Fire is a play and a movement that was started by my mother-in-law, Marcia McNair, and Professor Anissa Moore. They're both professors at Nassau Community College. And so we've had play productions in the city. We have another production that's going to be coming in February. So everyone can find out more on Sisters on Fire. I'll share that link shortly. But with the online component, with our IRL series, we feature women who are just badass, who are change agents like yourself, yourself. And so I'd love for you to share with everyone, when you hear the word Sistas on Fire, what does that mean to you?
Powerful women, powerful women. They're doing great things. That's what when I saw your email, that's what it sounded like to me. It was very powerful women doing wonderful and great things. And
Absolutely.
having life on their terms, and that's what's important, because we have, this is the way it has to be. You gotta
exactly.
do it on your terms.
Exactly. Yes, that's why you're a part of the series. So with that, who would you say have been Sistas on Fire for you in your personal life, in your professional life, and both?
My mom, for one. My mom, she's gone now. But a lot of the people that are coming out there now, the ladies that are out there, the young ladies that are out there doing things like Michelle Obama, Oprah Winfrey, they're all doing wonderful things. And then we have all the other people, and I think you have a lot of producers, and stuff. They're just doing absolutely wonderful things. You have a lot of people that are doing new shows on television, and I think it's fantastic. Things are just going beautiful.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, you've shared so much wisdom, I guess. Thank you. I learned from women like you, and I'm inspired by everyone. Oh, thank you.
I think it's fantastic. You're doing such a great job. I think it's absolutely fantastic. This show is just absolutely fantastic. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. So I'd love for you to share just last minute words of advice for anyone who wants to be an artist, an illustrator. If you could go back and give yourself advice when you first got started, what would you tell yourself? And hopefully that can, resonate with anyone watching, listening, who also, would love a career like yours.
Do what you love. Do what you love. Do not compromise that. And don't add it all down to money, because basically you only live once and you don't go around twice. And I would say do what you love. And any young artist that is out there, go at it full-heartedly, totally. I want to do this. This is who I am, because as an artist, that's who they are. And I would give them that advice. Do not compromise under any circumstances. And that, like some people will say that is selfish. That's not selfish. That's just being true to yourself. And if you're not happy, you cannot make anybody else happy.
Yes, exactly. I completely agree. And so with that, if people want to connect with you, to work with you, to collaborate with you, where do they go?
They would go to my website, mariahgraham.com. And then they can also check my image page on Google, Mariah Graham Illustration. Just dial it in and you will see all of my work is there. And then, of course, for my website, you will be able to get my email address. And then you can just email me and I will answer emails. And if young people want advice, yes, definitely. Perfect. Because I like that part about it. I only teach on a part-time basis, like 1 or 2 days a week. But I love seeing these young people do wonderful things. It just makes you feel good when you see that much talent out there.
Absolutely. I love that. Awesome. Well, I think your students are very lucky to have you, and I feel very honored to be able to speak with you and to hear more about your story and all of the amazing things that you've done with your life. So thank you for being a Sister on Fire. Thank you for being in this series and sharing your wisdom. And I hope everyone watching, listening, guys, she's here. If you want to learn, she's a Sister on Fire in real life, right? Get in touch with her. I've shared her website. She told you where to reach her. Do not let time go by without speaking with Mariah Graham. All right. So thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so much for including me. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. See you guys soon. Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Okay.